stop your video there. And then what we'll do is if you want to speak, you can just go ahead and use the little icon to raise your hand. Sometimes I'll call on people out throughout the class as well. But let's go ahead and get started. So we have, we'll begin with our quote of the day and then some expansion, then a reading with a quiz. We'll talk about some theories for good writing, and then we'll introduce a new book and wrap up with some vocabulary. So let's start off with the quote of the day. Andy, do you want to go ahead and read our quote for us over on the left side?
In ancient times, cats were worshipped as gods. They have not forgotten this.
Excellent. And this was a fun little quote from Terry Pratchett. Now, what is Terry Pratchett actually trying to say? What is he inferring about cats in this quote? Anyone have an idea? What is he actually saying about cats? Alice, any thoughts?
As in Asian, everyone likes cats.
No, it's a little deeper than, it's a little bit different than that. Ken, any thoughts on what it means? The true meaning is in the second part of the statement. Ken, any thoughts there on what this means?
No, I don't.
No? Okay. Andy, any thoughts? What it means?
Cats have good memory.
Not quite. Not quite. Okay, let me explain this. Maybe Ethan. Ethan, do you have an idea what this quote means over the left? I know you just got here.
I don't know.
No? Okay. So what they're saying is that cats have a certain personality. The fact that in ancient times cats were worshipped as gods meant that they were treated really, really well. They probably got anything that they requested. Now, the fact that we say they have not forgotten this means that cats still expect to be treated that same way. And if any of you have a cat, maybe you know that they're very independent beings. They're very particular beings. And if they don't like something, they'll let you know. They don't hide their feelings, their emotions. Just by a show of hands, do any of you have a cat or had a cat? No? No? Well, that's definitely some.
No.
No? Okay, well, that's definitely a personality that we do see in cats. And it's this quote is meant to be funny to remind us of the cat's personality. Well, today we actually are going to be talking about cats because cats have a very unique competition that they could get and they can be involved in. Let's learn about this. Ken, can you read our first paragraph?
The CFA International Cat Show is a cat show hosted by the Cat Fanciers.
Fanciers
Fancier as
Association.
yes association. The CFA International Cat Show has been held on an annual
Annual
basis since 1994, with the exceptions of
exception.
2027 and 2010. Considered the Rolls Royce of international cat shows, it is the largest show of its type in the U.S. Atlanta, Georgia, and
Georgia,
Houston,
Houston, Houston.
Houston, Texas, each have hosted the event a record 4 times.
Good. Go ahead and repeat the year for me. 2007.
2007.
You could also say it 2007 is another way that you could pronounce it as well. Good. Ethan, can you read the second paragraph?
Males or neutered males have won the Best in Show 15 of the 24 times the show has been held. The Persian cat breed has won Best in Show 16 of the past 24 shows. At each show, there are 12 to 16 specialty judging rings, which are for both long-haired and short-haired cat breeds.
And that word was specialty judging.
Specialty.
Alice, can you read the third paragraph?
They also include kittens, championship cats, non-spayed or neutered pedigree cats over 8 months old, and premiership cats, spayed or neutered pedigreed cats over 8 months old. Day one of the show is
Preliminaries
for best in breeds such as Persian, Manchu, and Tonkinese.
And then Andy, our final paragraph.
The second and final day of the competition shows the best in each cat breed in all 3 categories mentioned, then compete for the best in each category overall, then for best in show, which the overall winner of the competition. Top 5 winners in each category and overall are presented. Proceeds from the show to go on the Willie Feline Foundation since 1960.
Feline.
Feline Foundation since 1968. The foundation has raised over $2 million, with the entire amount going to cat health research.
Excellent. So a process here when it comes to a cat competition. Now, I want you to focus on answering one of the following questions. Now, as you answer the question, think of answering it thoroughly. Include your question material in your answer so that if the reader didn't know the question, they would understand what you were discussing. And then also be sure to add details. Think of our structure we've been talking about of the opening statement that answers the question, the second sentence giving you details, and the third being some type of conclusion or analysis of what you had just written. Your choice of questions is either number 1, explain some various ways cats are judged, or number 2, do you have a favorite breed of cats? If so, why? Or number 4, if you had a cat, would you enter it into a competition? Why or why not? So we've got a couple of questions that I'll give you a chance to discuss your opinion, but same process applies as far as the details. Right now, I'm copying all 3 questions over to the chat room that you can refer to, and then I'll go back to the reading in case you need to gather any information to help support your argument. Be sure if you're gathering any information from the text that you're not copying it directly, but you're rephrasing and putting into your own words. And then once you have your writing, you can submit it to me privately in the chat room, and then we'll take a moment and discuss. Okay, we're going to go ahead and start to take a look at the writing that's coming in. If you're going to submit, just go ahead and start to wrap up before we move on to our next section. Andy, you want to go ahead and read yours for the group?
If I had a cat, I would like it to be in the competition because firstly, cats are very cute. I'd like a chance for them to present themselves. Secondly, if my cat won, I would get an reward or some honor. So these are why my cat could be in the competition.
Okay, all right, very good, Andy. Let's talk about some things that can help your writing here. Now, you start off strongly with your reasoning behind, which was great. You actually use what's known as the second conditional, which is where you're using the past tense plus would and your verb. So very well done there. Now, you are going to give us firstly and secondly. If you're going to set up and let the readers know that you're going to give a few options, let them know in the beginning how many you're going to say. So, for example, you could say, um, if I had a cat, I would like for it to be in a competition for, okay, let me make sure that our annotating is off here. 1 second, everyone. Okay. This annotation here. Um, okay. Oh, as I was saying, we want to make sure that we let the readers know about those points that are going to be coming in. So you could say here for a couple of reasons. And then now this makes sense for you to start your firstly, or first, whichever one whichever one you want to use. And we'll get rid of the because in that case. So I don't typically want to use because if I'm going to be saying, if I'm going to be listing first, second, third, I just want I want that first statement to let the readers know exactly um, how many points am I going to discuss. Oops. Once again. Okay, good. Now, when we move on past that, firstly, cats are very cute. Then you have this part, I'd like a chance for them to present themselves. But you were talking about your cat, a cat. So I think what we need to do here is keep this reference point. It's okay if you make a point and say that all cats are very cute. But then when you go here, so I would like a chance to present mine. To present mine. Once again, referring back to if you had a cat. Secondly, within that, we have a run-on sentence. You have two phrases that you're trying to combine. Cats are cute, and I'd like a chance to present mine. But we need a coordinating conjunction. One that works really well here is so, which is talking about a result of something. So I'd like a chance to present mine. Secondly, we move into this. I'm just going to fix your spelling on that one. If my cat won, I could get an award or some honor. That's fine. Now, for your final statement, what you don't want to do is repeat yourself. You want to try to create something that is either a reflection on a future result or that is an evaluation of all the material, but it shouldn't be anything that sounds like what you did in the beginning, which you already told us that you wanted to be in a competition. We don't need to hear this again. Can you think of any result that or final reflection that could be that you could use for this final sentence?
Not sure.
Okay, let me give you a suggestion. So you were talking about entering a cat in a competition for a few reasons. You were imagining that the cat won. What would you do if your cat won? What would you do if you received a reward?
I will celebrate.
Perfect. this would be a great reason for me to celebrate having a cat. Because once again, we're going to tie it back to your original statement of actually having a cat, but now this is the final result. So that's what you want to think about when you think of that concluding sentence. It's something that is a reflection on what you said, a result of that, or a reflection on what you said, or a result that will create a sentence that doesn't repeat itself. Good. Okay, let me copy over Ethan, and we'll take a look at yours, Ethan. Okay, you want to go ahead and read yours, Ethan?
There are 3 ways cats are judged. Firstly, they pick the best cat in each breed. Secondly, they will pick the best cats in each category. Lastly, they will finally pick the top 5 cats in the competition. These reasons explain how they are judged.
Okay, excellent. So there's some really great things in here, Ethan. First of all, I like how you began lining out there are 3 ways that our cats are judged. Now, it sounds as though when we get into the description, it's actually more of a sequential decision, meaning that this has to happen first, then this has to happen, and then this has to happen, which is a little bit different than if you say 3 ways. What I would suggest is let's add a little bit more clarity to your first sentence. And let's say, how about this? There is a 3-step process for how cats are judged. Now, because we listed this process, now I understand that all of these 3 things that you're about to tell us actually relate to each other, meaning that one has to happen before the other one occurs. The descriptions that you listed for your details are wonderful. Once again, though, at your concluding sentence, I feel that you're repeating yourself. Can you give me some reflection that's either the result of your details or
So
some final thought?
maybe they will earn some gifts.
Perfect. The result, we could say something like the winning cat will receive awards and gifts. Perfect. Excellent. That works. Great. Okay, let me copy over our next writer, Alice, and we'll take a look at yours. Okay, Alice, do you want to go ahead and read yours for the group?
If I had a cat first, I would practice its physical fitness because if a cat doesn't have a good physical fitness, it can't run fast. Then I will practice its reaction ability because if it doesn't have a great reaction ability, can't do its host. Can't do what its host let them do. Plus, I will let it go to the competition.
What its host. Okay, I think that's what you're trying to say. Okay, all right, good, Alice. Let's talk about some things that can help with yours. Now, I like how you start off with, once again, your second conditional, using past tense during the if part of the statement, and then would. If I had a cat, I would practice its physical fitness. Now, we move into this phrase that you repeat in your writing, but let's try to avoid any sort of repetitive phrases. Let's try to rephrase things in a different way. So here you already said if a cat doesn't, I would first because if a cat doesn't have, just tense wise, that needs to be in the present, good physical fitness, it can't run fast. Okay, so let me give you another suggestion of how you could say this. If a cat isn't physically fit, if a cat isn't physically fit, that is one choice. I'm going to write that one, but I'm also going to write another one. Instead of saying physically fit, you could also say in shape. Now, my personal preference is to say in shape because we already said physical fitness. So repeating the physical part is not wrong, but once again, we're trying to find variety in our writing. So if I say in shape, which means the same thing of being physically fit, another synonym, then that's even better. Now, give me a little bit more detail. It can't run fast. Why is that important? Are you saying that the competition, they need to run in the competition?
Yes.
Okay. I would list that point in there because I think in the reader's mind, they would be curious by why this is important. Um, how about we say something like a demonstration of a cat's speed is an important part of a cat competition. Once again, kind of answering those, going into that detail, asking myself why, so that I can anticipate any questions that the reader might have. You then say, then I would practice its reaction ability. What did you mean by this reaction ability? What did you mean by that?
It's like,
I think what you mean is like reflexes.
yes.
Okay, and why would that be important? What's going to
Um,
be what in the competition would they be testing for reflexes? Can you give me an example?
because they they need to do something quickly.
Okay. Can you think of anything that would be like an example? I know there wasn't an example in the reading, but perhaps maybe there's something that you could think of.
Like catch a fish.
Okay. Okay. Let's work with that. So I think a better phrasing here, uh let's see, let me go back to okay. Then I let's also keep the would going because we need that for our conditional. We're talking about something that is a hypothetical situation. Then I would practice its reflexes. And I'm going to say, I'm going to suggest something different than practice. Then I would test its reflexes. Once again, just trying to find other vocabulary so I don't repeat myself. Now, you use this phrase, if it didn't have good reflexes, it wouldn't do. It can't do what the host let them. Let me help rephrase this a bit. Why don't we just say what you were just saying, um, but create a different sentence. This is your explanation sentence. Without strong reaction skills a cat will not be able to catch a fish. How about we say, or a mouse, during the competition? Once again, answering that question for the reader in their mind, why is working on reaction so important? So one thing I kind of see with your writing today is that if you want to provide if you want to provide a reasoning, make sure that you support your reasoning with why. So if you use because, then back that because up with an explanation. Lastly, I would go to the competition. How about we say something like this? At this point, a cat would be ready to compete. Now, the reason I'm avoiding also lastly, actually, no, you didn't mention how many points that you were going to say, so that's okay. But kind of said something similar to that as we focus on the final result. But yes, good working with that final result. Good. Any other writing? Ken, were you going to submit anything? If not, that's okay. We'll move on to our next part. But let's talk. We've been talking a lot about our tenses and trying to make sure that we understand the difference between our verb tenses. Today, I want to talk about the past simple and the past perfect simple. Now, these two are very interesting because they work hand in hand together. For example, let's look at a past simple one. It says, she visited her parents last week. If we look at a past perfect one, she had visited her parents before she flew back home last week. Can you explain what is the difference between the past simple and the past perfect? Raise your hand if you think you have an idea. Andy, any thoughts? Oh, Ken, you want to go ahead? Yes, Ken? You can unmute Ken.
It's like the past perfect one. Tell how did he go back home?
Not quite. Alice?
It's like the past perfect simple is tell this scene already finished in past.
Correct. When we use the past perfect, we are always talking or reflecting on one action that finished before another action. And this is why these two tenses are so closely connected, because if we want to use the past perfect, we also need to use the past simple, because we need to describe two actions, the first action in the past being the past perfect action, and then the second action being the past simple action. Once again, both of these actions are complete, or they're finished, but one finished before the other. See, in the first sentence, when we say she visited her parents last week, we're only talking about one action that occurred. But when we read the second sentence, she had visited her parents before she flew back home last week. The first action that happened in the past was the visiting of the parents, and that's always in your past perfect tense, okay? Whatever was the first action that happened the farthest from now in the present, that's always the past perfect. And then she flew back home, that is the second action. Now, this page explains a little bit more of that difference between those two tenses and how you want to use them. So feel free to refer back to that. But let's try a little bit. Now, when we form the past perfect, I'll just go back here for a second. Notice we used had. Past perfect uses had plus the past participle of the verb. I'm going to type that into the chat room. Past perfect simple equals had plus the past participle of the verb. Now, sometimes the past participle might even be the same as the past simple, but many times it isn't. Past simple could be ed or it could be the irregular verb. Let's see, though, how you do with some of this. So looking at number 1, it says, Tom with the verb give me the book yesterday, but I knew he with the verb not read it. Anyone have an idea of how you would write this sentence? Well, we know that one is going to be had plus the past participle. It could be either the give or the not read. And the other one's going to be in past perfect. Or sorry, in past simple. Anyone have an idea? Well, let's look at our options. So number 1 could be, oh, Ken, you think you know? Go ahead, Ken.
Tom had given me the book yesterday, but I knew he did not read it.
Okay, well, let me ask you some questions. What we have to do is we have to figure out what event happened first. Was it Tom giving you the book that happened first, or was it him not reading that happened first?
The thing is, Tom give me first before I did not read it.
Well, remember, this is saying that he didn't read it. So in this situation, Tom didn't read it first. That was the first action that occurred. That's the one that occurred the farthest in the past. Whatever action happened the farthest in the past, that's going to be your past perfect. The next action is going to be your past simple. So your first one should actually be past simple for give, and the second one should be past perfect for not read. Do you want to try putting that one together?
Oh, okay. Well, how are you gonna do this?
So your first one, the give should be in past simple. What would that be in past simple? What's the past simple of give?
Past symbol.
Past simple of give. It's an irregular verb. Gave. Tom gave.
Oh, that's the past tense of it. Okay.
That's the past simple. Tom gave me the book yesterday, but I knew he, now you're going to use past perfect, which is the had plus the past participle.
Did not read.
No, you're going to use had plus the past participle. Take a look at the chat, how you structure it. So it's had plus the past participle. So this would be had not read it. Tom gave me the book yesterday, past simple, but I knew he had not read it. Okay, let's try another one. Alice, take a look at number 2. Alice came, oh, perfect for you. Alice came back from Australia, and she said that she, with the verb enjoy a lot there. Once again, we have 2 actions that are being expressed in this sentence.
Had enjoyed.
That's correct. Had enjoyed. We know the enjoying happened before she came back from Australia. So since we wanted to express them both, the farthest in the past gets put into the past perfect. Very good. Ethan, take a look at number 3. When I arrived home, I realized that I, with the verb not phone my grandparents.
When I arrived home, I realized that I haven't phoned my grandparents.
Now, are you sure it's haven't?
Had not.
Had not. That's right. Hadn't or had not phoned my grandparents. Once again, the forgetting, the person realized it. That was the closest action to now, but not phoning was the first action. Andy, take a look at number 4. The postman with the verb come after I with the verb leave the office.
The postman came after I left the office.
Now you use the same tense. You use past simple and past simple. Which action happened first? Was it the postman coming or was it leaving the office?
I'm leaving the office.
Okay, so let's put that action in past perfect.
But I'm not sure what the past perfect actually is.
Did you see in the chat room where I typed had plus the past participle?
Had left the office.
That's right. You want to try reading the whole thing again?
The postman came after I had left the office.
That's it. Good. Let's see if we can try one more round of this. Number 5, Ken. When the old lady with the verb return to her flat, she with the verb see the burglars with the verb break into.
When the old lady returned to her flat, she saw the burglars broke into
Now, which action do you think happened the first in the past? Was it the returning?
burglars.
The burglars, right. So let's put that final one in the past perfect. You need had plus the past participle.
The old lady came up first to her flat.
So your first 2 were correct, but change your last verb into the past perfect. So you want to use had plus the past participle. You can see in the chat room where I typed it, the structure. So what would, if you're using the verb break and you use had plus the past participle, what's the past participle of break?
Broke.
I know that's the past simple. Past participle is broken. Broken. So can you say had broken, but say the whole sentence now?
When the old lady returned to her flat, she saw the burglars
Had broken.
had broken into.
Had broken into. Alice, try number 5. The train with the verb leave before Helen with the verb arrive at the station.
The train left before Helen. Wait.
Right, there's something off there.
The train had left before Helen arrived at the station.
Very good. Excellent. Yes. So we knew that the train was the first action before the arrival. Very good. Ethan, take a look at number 7. My grandmother with the verb make some cheese sandwiches when I with the verb get home.
My grandmother had made some cheese sandwiches when I got home at 5:30.
Excellent. Very good. And then Andy, our final one here, after she with the verb study the lesson, she with the verb do the exercises.
After she studied the lesson, she had did the exercises.
Which happened first? Was it the studying or the exercises?
The exercises.
Are you sure? It says after.
Lesson.
Right. So you want to say that one again?
After she had studied the lesson, she did the exercise.
Excellent. Good. So you see how this can be really helpful working with the past perfect simple to let us know clearly what action happened before another action. And that's why we use it when we want to express two actions within the same sentence. We can say that one happened before the other. Feel free to practice some more with these exercises on the slide to get yourself some additional practice. I want to see if we can do a quick, simple sentence. Now, for your sentences, I want you to use either after, before, or by the time. Make sure you think carefully about what action happened first in your sentence. But see if you can create a past perfect simple sentence where the first action is the past perfect simple, and then the second action is past simple. Once you have a sentence, you can submit it to me privately, and then we'll take a look and discuss. Okay, let's take a look at the sentence that's coming in. If you want to submit, just go ahead and start to quickly wrap up. Ethan, you wrote, after I had finished my homework, I went to the playground. Perfect. Yep, you have both actions. The first action being the finish the homework. Now, so understand something. You could actually change the order and it still would be fine. If you wrote it like this, if you wrote, I went to the playground after I had finished my homework, that would also work as well. We know that the action is still the same whether the first action comes in the beginning of the sentence or whether the first action comes in the end of the sentence. Very good. Alice, you wrote, the shop closed after I had left the shop. Perfect. Yours also works really nicely. Now you could switch it as well. You could say, after I had left the shop, it closed. Now, notice how you have shop twice in yours? You could actually eliminate it. We could say, the shop closed after I had left. That would be even better, just to keep avoid the repetition, because we don't need the repetition of the shop in this sentence. And even if I switched it, I would say, after I left the shop, it closed. I wouldn't need to repeat shop. I could change it to it as well. Let me copy over yours, Andy. Take a look at it. You wrote, Andy, by the time I got back, my mom had finished dinner. Now, are you thinking of finished making dinner or her finishing eating?
Eating dinner.
Oh, okay. So she was eating separate. Okay. By the time I got home, my mom had finished dinner. That works nicely. You could also switch it. You could say, my mom had finished dinner by the time I got back. Very good. All of those work. Well done. All right. Now we have a new book for next week. This is Where the Red Fern Grows. Very famous book, Wilson Rawls. Here's a little bit about the author that you can take a moment and read. But let's read just the description here. Can you read the summary for us?
No problem. A loving threesome. They range the dark hills and river bottoms of Creaky Country.
Cherokee County.
Oh,
Cherokee County.
Turkey Country.
Cherokee.
Oh, Dan
Cherokee.
had Turkey Country.
County.
Oh, Dan Cherokee Country.
Yeah,
Oh, Dan had
Cherokee County.
Cherokee County.
Very good.
Oh, Dan had the brown. Little Ann had the brains, and Billy had the will to train them to the finest hunting team in the valley. Glory
and Victor were
Victory.
coming to them. But sadness waited too, and close by was the strange and wonderful full power that's only found
Very good. And
where
that's good. And Alice, do you want to go ahead and read the last part there?
Where the rat first grows. An exciting tell
Tale? Tale?
tale of love and adventure you'll never forget.
Excellent. So what type of genre would you say this book is? Can anyone tell me what type of genre?
Mystery,
Maybe mystery. I think there's another one that fits a little bit better. Ethan?
adventure.
Adventure. Yes, adventure. Now, we also have this phrase in here. They say, old Dan had the brawn and little Anne had the brains. You hear that collocation of those words oftentimes together, bronze and brains, or brains and bronze. Does anyone know what it means? Brains and bronze, or bronze and brains? Someone might say, this person has the bronze and the brains. Well, this is a reference to strength and to intelligence. The bronze represents someone being strong, physically strong. Brains represents someone being intelligent and smart. Bronze and brains. It's kind of a fun idiomatic phrase there. Yeah, so I encourage you to check out that book. Now, we had some vocabulary words from our reading. You'll need these vocabulary words for the after-class writing assignment, our questions. Rolls Royce, neutered, breeds, non-spayed, and pedigree. Take a moment real quick and create a sentence using one of the following vocabulary words. Once you have your sentence, you can submit privately to me and we'll take a look and make sure the meaning is correct. Okay, let's go ahead and take a look at the sentences that are coming in. Andy, you wrote, my English teacher would like a Rolls Royce. Why? Tell me a little bit more. Give me an idea of how I could know what this word was, if I didn't know what Rolls Royce was.
A Rolls Royce car.
Okay, perfect. Good. That gives me an idea. Now, what's interesting about this phrase is that we oftentimes use Rolls Royce, as you'll see in the reading, if you go back to the reading, it used to describe something of luxury. They said this competition is the Rolls Royce of cat competitions, meaning that it's a luxury competition. Okay, good. Alice, can you read? You said I just want to make sure you all can hear me okay. Can you still hear me?
yes.
Okay, good. We could change this just slightly to be neutered. Yep, that would work. And the assumption that if the cat is neutered, what's going to happen? Why would a cat be neutered? Can you explain?
To prevent unwanted.
So having babies. So that's one way to prevent them having babies. So that little added there part helps someone know the definition if they didn't necessarily know it. So very good. Okay. As we wrap up today, I want you to think about the new vocabulary words we had. Also, the difference between the past perfect simple and how we use it with the past simple. This week for your writing assignment, I want you to imagine you are inventing a new flavor of ice cream. What is the new flavor called, and what ingredients do you need to make it? It's a little creative writing here, right? No more than 400 words. You can submit that to the forum within the next 7 days for edits. On the page afterwards, you'll find the sentences where you'll use the vocabulary words along with the answer key to check your answers. Right now, I'll go ahead and copy over today's link into the chat if you'd like to get started on any of the exercises. Just go ahead and click on the link and request access from me, and then I'll be able to grant that to you. But any questions as we wrap up for today? Okay, I will see you all next Sunday. Have a great week. Bye now.
Mhm.
Bye.
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 Goodbye. Nice having you in class today, Ken.